Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of SEO Tells. My name is Itamar Blau. I'm joined with Craig Campbell, and today we're going to be talking about clients and how to keep them happy, the kind of stuff that you can do in order when you're dealing with clients to make sure that, they're feeling good, that they continue to trust you, and all that kind of jazz. So obviously it's really important. And Craig here was agency side for a while. And he kind of has dealt with loads of different clients over the years. So Craig, right off the bat, what are some maybe challenges that you faced with certain clients, and what have been some of your kind of success stories in terms of the things that you've done to make clients happy so that they continue to work with you?
I think obviously when you start out with any client, especially in this day and age, where SEO is a lot further down the line and clients have been with various freelancers or agencies or whatever. I think, sometimes they've had their fingers burnt, and that happens, and it happens in every walk of life. And I think the first thing is obviously building that trust. And I think, obviously SEO takes 3 or 4 months for things to start to pull together to see any real progression anyway. And I think in those first 3-4 months, whether you like it or not, sometimes you've just got to handhold, do a lot more client education, if you like, just to keep them. I think the thing is, if you can get them over that 3 or 4 month hurdle, then it does start to become easier, because you've been given, so obviously you're handed the client's website, and whatever your process is, it might slightly differ from mine, but you audit the website, you analyze keywords, you analyze what the plan of attack is going to be for the first 3 or 4 months, and you look at it saying, right, well, month 1 I might build some citations, I might clean up the website with all the errors, I might start looking to add a few bits of content for keywords that are not being targeted. So that's probably going to be month 1 by the time you do all of that, depending on, if something's a much bigger website, it might take you the first couple of months just to clean stuff up. But once you do that, you should start to see things. Then you might, go into your internal linking structure and start to power up some of the kind of main pages in your website. And again, you can see a little dent up. And for me, I think those first couple of months, you have to, obviously any SEO doesn't want to tell the client everything they're doing, but I think, because people's fingers have been burnt, sometimes you just need to suck that up and educate them. Just say, listen, I need to do internal linking. We need to, basically show Google what your power pages are and pass juice through to the main pages in your website and explain that to them. And I think in a lot of cases, they get it. I think as long as you're saying something that's semi-plausible, then the most times they'll buy into it. But, you can't just say to them, listen, just pay up and shut up and, give me that time, because essentially I think the biggest problem you've got here, and, if you think about it this way, you are paying someone, or someone is paying you for something they can't feel or touch. So they're just giving money to the bogeyman there, hoping that you ain't going to run away. And that can be hard for someone who's maybe never even met you. So I get it. And I think, just educating them and building up a bit of a rapport and, a bit of chat with them, even if it's banter, even if it's just, giving them some jokes and stuff like that, just, keep them at ease. That is the best thing I can say, is keep them at ease, just to overcome that hurdle. Because how many times, and you must have seen this yourself, Itamar, and obviously I think you will see it going forward now that you're on your own, you get a client that jumps on and you tell them the whole situation, it doesn't happen that quickly, and then after month 1, like, I've not seen anything. You're like, dude, I told you it's going to take a while. This is an investment. It's not some quick fix. And they're just like, nah, sorry, I'll go somewhere else. And, they bugger off and they go around the houses. And that's something you just can't stop. Someone's got that kind of mentality. And, you've just got to try your best and make sure that they like you. I think one other thing is people buy into people. and someone looking at you, for example, they'll go, yeah, this guy from London, seemed pleasant, we maybe hit it off talking about music and whatever else, and I think sometimes people can warm to you a bit more if you talk about things out with SEO as well, just to kind of build that trust and get them to buy into you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good points that you mentioned. I think obviously the person who they're dealing with, that's going to be important as well. So for example, if you at least want to get some good first impressions, then that kind of stuff is really helpful. But let's say that, they've picked you already. So they've hired you to do some stuff. And like you mentioned before, where, you can explain to someone, and this is where education is really important, because I feel like, if you don't educate someone on this kind of stuff, then it might feel like they're going back to maybe certain people who they've dealt with in the past that, took their money, ran away. And, they're always going to have this, call it stigma in the back of their head, where they're thinking, well, this has happened to me before, and you're a bit more cautious. So I think that's why the education part is really important. But then again, how can you still persuade someone that the stuff, when you're doing work for them, how are you able to then at least keep them on for those initial maybe 3 to 4 months? So I get, like, you've spoken about showing them what's been going on month by month, but have you had any cases where, you've explained that to somebody, but they've still kind of not been sure? They've still kind of, been asking you more questions, kind of probing, being like, Craig, what's happening here? Has that ever happened to you, and how have you kind of overcome that if it did happen?
Of course it happens. I'm no different to anyone else. We get these guys, and I've had some terrible times, dealing with this kind of stuff. I think for me, trying to get in there and get some quick wins. So, for example, you get a client, say he's a London dude, whatever, and he does a bit of nationwide stuff. The easiest thing I can do is get him ranking in that GMB. That is what's going to bring in, another 1,000 or 2,000 visitors a month, depending on the kind of search volumes and stuff like that. So for me, it's all about whether I think this is the best strategy or not, or the best way to utilize the guy's money. The only way he's going to continue to pay if he sees progression in terms of rankings, traffic, and conversions. So you've got to go after those quick wins, go after the GMB. Now, he might say to you, I'm not that fussed in local traffic. I want to do more on the nationwide side of things. The only way you are going to continue to get paid is if that guy keeps getting more phone calls and sees more traffic. I don't care what the guy says in the initial meeting. And the guy could say, I don't care about local SEO. I just want nationwide stuff, blah, 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 blah. I would just go against the grain and make sure that we cover the basics first. And, that is what keeps a guy paying. More traffic, more leads, more conversions. So go after the quick wins, the GMBs, the kind of long tail keywords even. Start smashing that stuff out, because that's what you need to do to show this guy, hey, after that 3 or 4 month period when you've said, give me that. If the guy's lucky enough to give you that, you've got to be able to say, look, you had 1,000 visitors when you came here. You're now getting 5,000. That's only in 3 months. Obviously an SEO campaign, a full-on SEO campaign, could take 12 months, 18 months, to get some real substance behind it. And I think that is the kind of thing you have to think about yourself as an SEO. What am I going to do to make sure that this guy feels the value of what I do? And yeah, that's what you've got to do. And I think, that there are easy wins out there, such as the GMBs. If it's a nationwide client, so be it. But I'm also quite strict with clients where I'll say, listen, mate, I can sit here and talk to you all day long, but the clock's ticking in your budget. And the more I talk, the less actual work gets done in your website. So, you're giving me X amount of money, and I'm going to segregate that money between, say, content, tech, links, outreach or whatever it may be. And if you want to talk for my hourly rate for half of that time, then a lot of that stuff's just not going to be done. So let's not go down the route of, I know you've had your fingers burnt, but let's not overdo the whole talking thing, because more talking does mean less work, actual work getting done on your website. And again, people get that as well, and I think sometimes they've just got to, the client does have to at times bite the bullet and just trust you. That's the only way for them to go forward and progress. And as sad as it may seem, you, me, or anyone else cannot make SEO something a tangible item. None of us can. So we can waffle about it all day long. It ain't going to make it a tangible item. Someone has to take action and do things that are actually going to make that needle move. And that is not sitting holding a client's hand or telling them jokes or telling them how good you are, keep paying me, keep paying me, keep paying me. You need to make sure that you're spending that budget wisely on the things that are going to make sure that this guy continues to pay you. And as I say, it's different from client to client, but that's how I've always done it and had good success with it.
But I feel like as well, so that part that you mentioned, the time, so like spending less time kind of holding a client's hand, explaining the whole, the whole scheme of what's going on and stuff like that. I guess that's why it's important as well for them to at least kind of have an idea of who you are before they start interacting with you, because you can save yourself hours. And I know people in the industry who, they'll list out like completely step by step what their processes are. So then at least they're kind of filtering these potential leads so that only the people who have kind of gone through and understand it can sign up. And then it means that you just go, straight away, so that there's no need to actually kind of, maybe talk to them a bit more about what it is you're doing. And I feel like that approach can work a lot better, I think, in terms of, getting the types of clients that you want to get. Say, if you want to get the client that isn't going to really be asking any questions, kind of understands exactly what you're doing, then maybe it's better to put that on your site anyway. Maybe it's better to list out your processes. And, I think personally, it's stuff that even on my site where I kind of list out things that are going on, not to the fullest extent, not as much as say other people that I know in the industry, but at least it kind of gives you an idea of who you're going to be dealing with. And I feel like even when you talk about personal branding, even if we're talking about, using videos on your service pages, so at least people can kind of see you and get the idea, so that maybe they feel a bit more comfortable. And I feel like if they start feeling more comfortable, then there's probably going to be less questions and less doubts on their end, which means you actually get the time to do the work. Would that be a fair kind of way to put it, Craig?
Yeah, I think obviously, if you're speaking or doing videos or any of that kind of stuff, you're doing it for a reason, and that's obviously to build trust and authority. Make sure that you stand out, amongst your peers, if you like, and demonstrate your knowledge to the clients. And you can say to them, hey man, look, go go and look at these videos, and you'll see, you can just see it in a guy, in a guy's video, whether they know what they're talking about or not. And yeah, of course, I think that saves a lot of time and a lot of bullshit. And again, you've also just got to be clear with clients as well. Just say, listen, dude, I can do the work for you. I can give you a training course. I can do it. I can sit on the phone with you, for 20 hours a month and just talk shit, via a consultancy call. Take your pick. What do you want? Do you want training? Do you want me to sit and hold your hand, or do you want me to do the work? You can't get all three rolled into one for the one price. The one low monthly retainer. I ain't going to train you on stuff. If I'm not being paid to do it, I'll charge you. I'll train your team. I'll show you whatever you want. Just make sure that the sneaky thing is, I feel with a lot of clients is, clients think we're wet behind the ears and jump on and say, yeah, show me what you're doing, and I give you a lot more work and all that stuff. They're just really trying to drain you for all of your knowledge so that they can kick you out at the end of the day. And I think they think that SEOs are we're fools and haven't had that a million times before. So for those clients, you just make it very clear. Listen, dude, if you want me to sit and hold your hand, you know, or talk to you for 20 hours a month, there's my hourly consultancy rate. Pay for it, or that's it, you know. And whether you charge, you know, $50 an hour for consultancy, or you know, $500 an hour, just times that by 20 and say, you know, we can't have 20 grand's worth of time talking pony here. You would be much better paying me $3 for a training course and I'll tell you everything you need to know. Or if you want a service, pay me $1,000 a month and I'll do it bit by bit by bit, as much as I can for your $1,000 a month or your $2,000 a month or whatever the figures may, you know, pad out to be. Because I think a lot of clients as well also have this mindset that they own you. You know, if they pay you $2-3 a month, that they own your ass for a full month. Now, I could spend $2 or $3 on, say, I could go and get $1,000's worth of content for a client. I could go and get $2,000's worth of backlinks. I could spend that money in 5 minutes flat. You know, this is money we're spending to the best of your ability. You don't own our ass, you know, for you know, 240 hours a month. You know, that isn't how SEO works. The same way, you know, if I can buy or, you know, get content or whatever, you know, people always look at it as an hourly rate kind of thing, or, you know, or think that they own you. And I think, you know, most SEOs will outsource elements of the work, whether it be the content, whether it be the links, whether it be the outreach, whether it be the tech, the dev, whatever. You know, a lot of people are outsourcing a lot of the grunt work so they can work at scale and work with multiple clients, and that's your prerogative. You know, I certainly don't want to be sitting writing, you know, if someone needs 50 pages of content, I'll certainly never ever be sitting writing that content. And if it costs me $5,000 to outsource that, then the client's paying for it. Simple as that. And you know, it's something I can take 5 minutes to order. Maybe slightly longer than 5 minutes, you know, but you've obviously got to do your research and stuff like that. But the point being is sometimes clients say, well, how many hours are you putting into this? This is not a man-hours game, Mr. Client. This is a value-added service. And we could spend $100,000 of your month, of your marketing budget per month on a whole bunch of different variables. That doesn't come down to how many hours I spend on it. You know, I could spend $40,000 in Facebook ads, you know, $40,000 in SEO, you know, content links and everything else, and another $20,000 on Google ads, you know, if you like. And, you know, that's not going to take me a month to be able to spend that $100,000. Absolutely not. And if I've got the right team, the right processes and everything else in place for people are going to be adding that content and all of that stuff, then, you know, your budget's your budget. And I think that's something you need to make clear as well from the get-go, because clients, I've had it myself. I had a client a few years ago paying $1,000 a month and done exceptionally well from him. Not for him, sorry. The guy phoned me and went, Craig, whatever you're doing, man, the leads are going really well, the traffic's going really well, you know, everything's going really well. It's a road traffic lawyer. And he said, can you come into my office? And there was 3 of them. So there was 3 road traffic lawyers in the one office. And went into the office, they sat me down. And there was this one guy who was a dick. And he just knew that it stuck in his throat to pay $1,000 a month. And he's like, well, what is it you're doing for this $1,000 a month? Like, how many man hours go into this? And I said, how many man hours go into your you know, writing a letter to a client and you charge 250 quid for it? How many man hours go into that? They went, oh, but I've went to this and that, and I'm you know, I'm a lawyer and all that. I mean, you can do any uni or whatever if you want. Like, I'm not here to query your prices, but that's what you're doing to me. I was trying to make the point. And I said, it's not a man hours game. I'm not a bricklayer. I'm not this. I'm not that. So anyway, I got home. Now, the guys didn't like it that I stood up to them. So the boss said, oh, I'm sorry, you know, they're a bit harsh. They just don't understand what you're doing in the background, blah, 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 blah. But you're doing a really good job. We're really happy. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, I've got all this documented in an email. And because I wouldn't tell them exactly what I was doing, they fired me a couple of weeks later, got rid of me. And it ended up a big fight because I would not tell them what I was doing. Now, these guys just weren't, they felt that although the leads and everything were coming in, that they were coming in through the bogeyman or whatever. What they didn't realise is I was building landing pages, I was building links, I was doing all of that kind of stuff, and they were ranking well. But because they couldn't see, all they could see was landing pages and they couldn't see anything else, their brains didn't get it, and they didn't feel that it was £1,000 worth of value. Whether that transpired into 50 grand, for that £1,000 a month, whether that turned into 50 grand a month worth of revenue or whatever, I can't entirely say, but I've got it down in black and white where the guy went, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing something really, really well for us. And I want you to keep it going. He said that to me days before the meeting, and within weeks I was gone, just because I couldn't explain properly, and I wasn't prepared to explain properly either, what goes into that. And you win some, you lose some. But I think, for that guy, he wanted to know exactly what I was doing, and I'm not prepared to give anyone my secret sauce. So also don't be scared to lose clients and stick up for what you believe in as well. These guys don't own your ass, and fuck them. The guy moved on, went to someone else's. Traffic dipped by more than half by them simply moving to a new server, and they moved it from away from the UK to somewhere else, and they were targeting the UK. It was absolute madness, and the traffic had dipped by half, and I think they're still not even anywhere close to where they were when I was managing the campaign. So that's something they have to take in the chin as well. We're being dicks, and that's the other side of it as well, where you can lose a client if you are not prepared to give too much away, and I'm not prepared to give that much away.
I think as well that this is kind of a nice point to end on, and I think it's the point where you need to, hopefully in the best case scenario, you need to keep clients happy, but also clients should also keep you happy. So if you've got clients, well, even if they're happy, they are paying you, if they just start trying to dig into your secrets and kind of like always bother you about what it is that you're doing, this, that, and the other, that sounds quite toxic. I feel like it has to be kind of reciprocal in the sense that, well, if somebody's giving you money to do this job, you do the job and they're happy with it, but at the same time, they shouldn't be, trying to pick your brain all the time and kind of, just being petty or call it being toxic or whatever. I feel like it needs to be a kind of two-way street. And I feel like, yeah, like you mentioned, don't be afraid to lose clients, because I'd rather have clients that, are really happy with what I do and that they don't kind of bother me, 4 times a day, asking me different questions and things like that. You need to think, I suppose, about, how your time is being invested and the kind of people who you want to work with. So I feel like that's kind of a good place to end it there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of SEO Tells. If you did, leave a like rating below and leave a comment and make sure you're subscribed. On behalf of myself and Craig, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you in next week's episode.